James Hector had come along the river, of course, he sure named it correctly. It held that name of Castle Mountain until 1946. During World War II, the Allies had selected one individual to be the Supreme Commander. His name was Dwight D. Eisenhower. Later on became the President of the United States. But the Allies chose him. They gave him a mandate, victory, nothing else. Well, he had his hands full. The hardest job he had was to get everybody to work together. My goodness. When you've got his own generals who were hard-nosed Type A personnel, you ladies don't know what that's about, eh? Being a Type A personality? No, you no idea? Yeah, right.
Yeah, Type A person.
Well, he worked with these generals, and when we think of a Type A personality today, it's quite subdued compared to what these guys were like back in World War II. His own generals said, "Hey, let me go in there, I'll clean that up for you." Well, you couldn't. He had to get them to work together with the Canadians, with all of the Allies. Can you imagine trying to work with Mountbatten from Great Britain? Oh my goodness. And his generals? They did not like each other. Well, it was British, Canadian, US. They didn't like each other. And that was very reflective. But his job was to get the task completed. He had a lot of good help too, folks, and it was because of that that he was successful in the Desert Sands and then in the European theater. So a massive, massive conflict. Over 80 million people died in World War I, World War II. And in 1946, the Canadian government was looking for something from nature that could represent all of those people that perished in that conflict, or those conflicts. All of the medical staff, the doctors, the nurses, all of the medical staff, the Red Cross people that worked their hearts out to keep those people alive, whether it was from injury, from illness, foot disease, whatever. They wanted to pay tribute to the farmers that raised the food. They wanted to pay tribute to the people that transported everything that they needed. They even mentioned during World War I, they ran out of steel. So what did they do? They lifted the rail from the Grand Trunk Pacific, the best steel in Canada. They took the steel off the railway and used it for the war initiative. So they wanted to deal with all of those issues and say thank you. They did that by renaming this mountain to Eisenhower Mountain. It was not Mount Eisenhower. Had it been Mount Eisenhower, it would have meant it was just for him. It was not. His name is, he was the Supreme Commander, but it was representing all the people. That legislation stayed in place until 1979. But because Kodak had made this mountain internationally famous, because look at it, it looks like a castle, you guys, when we go by it. Whenever people traveled, they would see pictures of this, and you still do to this day. You'll see pictures in boardrooms, offices, front desks at hotels, restaurants, you name it, they're everywhere. And it always says, Castle Mountain, Banff National Park, Banff, Alberta, Canada. So as the people traveled, they hadn't changed the name to Eisenhower. It was still Castle. So the people wanted their name of Castle Mountain back. Well, hold on now just a minute. You see, you had all of those military personnel, you had all of those families that were on their own as a result of the conflict. You had all of those retirees, the ones that had served and come home. They wanted that name maintained. Our Prime Minister in 1979 was a fellow from northern part of Alberta, and he knew this mountain very well. What he decided to do was name this mountain back to Castle Mountain. But you see that very first freestanding tower on the top? What makes it look like a castle to begin with? He called that freestanding tower, he called Eisenhower Tower on top of Castle Mountain. I was raised by the guys that came back from World War II. They were very angry when they were thinking of changing this mountain. And then when he came up with that as the solution, they all thought it was a good idea. They thought, well, that's what should have been done to begin with. It would have avoided all of that conflict. So folks, here on the right-hand side is truly Castle Mountain. The distinguishing issue of making it look like a castle is that freestanding tower, and that is the Eisenhower Tower, representing all of those things that the Legislation Assembly had intended for that name change in 1946. So folks, does it look like a castle from this direction? Wait until we go by it. Wait until you look back at it. I don't even know how to describe it. You guys will have to do that for me. It sure is not a castle from that point. So it teaches us every angle that you look at a mountain from is completely a different view, or perhaps easier to say, a different picture. This is going to magnify itself here shortly, folks. Just take a look at it, just watch it as we go by, and you will see the changes. How can a mountain structure of this size change right in front of your eyes? Watch it, folks. It's going to do that. Take the odd peek at it as we go by, and then turn around and look back at it. Castle Mountain, Eisenhower Tower. I am just really surprised we can see it. I truly believe it cleared up just for you folks today. It was completely clouded in when I came down, and when I looked at it as we left Banff, it was still clouded over. And there it stands, folks. Wow.